Hello, hello, hello. Thanks. How's it going? How's it going? How's it? You hear me well? Yeah, I think you hear me well. Oxy. Okay. Chess is so addictive. Yeah. Too much addictive, actually. Too addictive. Too addictive. Yeah. Hey. How old are you? I'm 24. I'm 24. I'm adjusting my layer here. We're gonna start very soon. No worries. Yeah, I wanted this. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right. Sounds like we are starting our speed run for today. We are currently on the level 1700. Really 24? I turned 35 this month, but then look younger. You won't be able to say that and look older to you. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Let's start games. Let's see who we get and what we get in today's matches. So okay, I'm gonna start with the classical e4. He played French. Okay, now I think it's a right moment, a great chance to show you the gambit, which is called Milner-Barry Gambit, where the things get really tactical. Okay, he didn't play French, he played c5. So if I play here the move knight to f3, I will transpose into the Sicilian open variation against Taimanov. But the thing is, we won't allow that. This move order is not good for black because for white it's possible to go move d5 and grab the center. And okay, maybe that's what black wanted. He actually wanted to close the center this way. Now he's ready for the move e5. Okay, we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna play the move knight c3. Allowing black to close the center is usually fine for white because white gets a lot of space. Now a4 was played to stop b5 and he so badly wants to push that. But it's not possible because on the end of the day, not just that he loses the pawn, he also loses the rook in the corner. So that's definitely not great. We can ignore that move, since now they block development of the knight. There is also an option to go here a5, but no need for that. Let's just develop our knight. We are not obsessed with any developing moves here from black, because they're barely working. Now, for example, they took on d5, and if I take back with knight, which is a very logical move, they will be able to develop the knight on c6. So to punish their decision, we're going to take back with pawn. And yeah, the e-line gets open, but we are much faster with castles. So now what is the idea? Who's going to tell me what is the idea with this knight on f3? Like, this knight feels restricted. This knight feels restricted. What you going to do with this knight on f3? Like, what is your plan? Okay, it's of course totally logical to develop your pieces, but I won't develop my bishop on c4. There is one reason why I won't do that. Does anybody know? Does anybody know what is the problem with this knight on f3? Knight d2 heading to the c4 square, yes, but we don't want to do that immediately. I mean, we can actually, but I would maybe prioritize firstly the development of my bishop, like bishop e2. I don't want to put my bishop on d3 or c4 because it blocks the development. e2 is good because if they pin us, we can play the move knight d2. So now they played knight f6. We can also castle safely. They'll play bishop e7, I guess, and then we're gonna start rerouting our knight to c4 square. Where later we can push the move a5, and then at that point they will have definitely problems on this side of the board. So now they develop the bishop here, a very logical reaction. We're gonna just head with our knight to c4, where we got a lot of stability. Now this position is beautiful. And at this point, since there is a good knight, we can include the other bishop to help the attack. So bishop f4 is possible move. There's also an option to play the move a5. Maybe a5 is very good, actually. Yeah, a5 looks decent here. I'm gonna play the move a5 first. Not because I want to play knight b6. I want to like lock his pawn structure on the queen side, which actually shows very well here that white is dominating. This is typical Benoni structure, but this bishop is wrong. This bishop is set on the wrong spot. He should stand on g7. Because here he closes the line, he stacks the position a little bit, bugs him from development. Now we're going to put the bishop on f4. It's important to notice that on bishop f4, there is no knight h5. Knight h5 could be a very annoying move, but we have a bishop on e2. So bishop f4. So now we have this idea of taking the pawn. Sometimes black could sacrifice this pawn if he has queen b6 and then double attack on b2 and this pawn on d6 and some piece on d6. But in this case, since we played a5, that doesn't exist. And who's gonna tell me? Is b6 good break for black? Does this make sense? I mean, makes sense, but does this make sense when it comes to breaks? What can white do after a5 happens? Okay, it opens up the rook, but it's also opening the b line. So it opens the rook, that's correct, but there is something bad with this move now. What? Okay, with every pawn push, generally, when it happens, you're looking what this pawn leaves behind. So where he lost the c6 square, that's correct, c6. And then after trade, knight takes b6, knight a5 would come, followed by knight c6. That's a decent, no, not knight b6. Knight b6 is not idea here. Now they gave up the pawn for some reason. I don't know, maybe they overcalculate something, but this is just pawn down. But earlier they should push maybe b6, but b6 is allowing knight a5 followed by knight c6. And that's typical reaction in these structures in Benoni, where black is losing the control over the queen side a lot, because this becomes really, really nice spot for our knight. On the other side, what is additional problem for black is that even if we lose the d5 pawn, it's not a big deal, because that opens the diagonal, that opens the line. So now the knight on e5 is threatening our pieces, and it's for free. I mean, pawn will be for free later. So we can take it with a bishop, we can take it with a knight. Let's see how you take it. Of course, you take it back with a knight, because bishop is better to have. On the other side, this knight is good to stand on c4. So I think actually both ways is possible. Just looking if there is no any tactics. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes. There's no jumps, even you take with the bishop. Yeah, I think it's just good enough to take, of course, with a knight, because you get material. And there is no tactics now. Okay, bishop d6, offering the trade. Where do I study theory from? I'm playing classical today and my opponent plays e4. Where I do find the theory? I mean, everywhere. You have literally everywhere, like opening books, websites, courses. I mean, what kind of theory you want? It's a general question. I don't know what answer you need. Anyways, he played bishop d6 and now he offered a bishop trade. There's an option to go f4 here, but this is just exposing our king. So maybe no need to do that. On the other side could be a strong move. On the other side could be, but there is queen c7 then. So here either we take, that develops their queen, or we just settle down with bishop g3. But yeah, why not take? Queen will take back. And then we're gonna play the move bishop to f3, because this perfectly outshines this knight from f6, and on the other side protects the pawn on d5. Kalashnikov Sicilian, like, do you study from engines or videos or books or what? I mean, Kalashnikov Sicilian I studied myself many years ago, not just with videos and courses. I studied with coaches, so, you know. I mean, you can learn chess many different ways. Some people likes to watch courses, some people enjoys the speed run, some people study on their own. Okay, rook to e8. Of course, a normal, natural move. Maybe he wants to simplify, but I think this doesn't give him good direction there. We can play rook e1. That's one idea, but we can also just play queen to d2 and then go for rook e1. That's another option. But maybe, yeah, queen d2, I think that's better. Yeah, queen d2 starts controlling the, connecting the rooks. Isn't f4 strong because black pawn is on c5 and we got a a5 pawn blocking the a5 g1 diagonal? What do you mean? Maybe earlier? Like here? f4 is possible, but I told you that there is queen c7. And then I eventually... Okay. Yeah, I could take the knight then. But I think my opponent in that position, after f4, he doesn't need to take. He can maybe move the knight and then go queen c7. Like, he can literally play knight e8 followed by queen c7. And then it feels a little bit off to, you know, to have this pawn on f4 general. Like, if they take, obviously it's good. And, okay, on f4 they can play rook e8 also. So, f4 is not good move. Okay, today is the day, and let's find some moves. Benjamin. Okay, my opponent played rook d8, so he brings the other rook to the game, but we have a perfect control on this pawn. And I told you, even losing this pawn will not make a big difference, because this opens the fire on b7. So we can start putting our rook. Also, it's useful maybe to start with h3. Like, I like the move h3 here, to be honest with you. I very much like the move h3. But on the other side, there is no big threats. But h3 is good. We can play h3. Maybe we can also just play rook e1. Many different moves. Just don't blunder some tactics and we are happy. The reason why I wanted h3, I didn't like some knight g4, bishop g4, but we can always take whatever comes on g4 in the worst case scenario. Thanks for following. Thanks for following. Yeah. So this position is winning for us, but we still need to convert. Can someone tell me where this knight would be a very strong piece? He's still a strong piece here. Like protecting d5, controlling the center. But usually this knight on c3 in Benoni structure is restricted. The only thing he does is protecting the e4 and d5. Yeah, he wants to be on c4, but we already traded one knight. We get the pawn for that, which is good. b6 is not a good square for the knight. You can go there and then to reroute your knight on c4. That's one option. f4 is too much time. Takes like, okay, for now knight is solid here on c3. We won't move the knight yet, because once we start regrouping, we lose the pawn in the middle. We can't do that. Once we start that, we again could lose the pawn in the middle. And the rook takes e1, inclusion could happen, and then they win the pawn on e1. What is this? Thanks for following again. So, you know, the problem is you want to simplify with rooks first, and then you will decide how you're gonna regroup your knight. Like that's first reaction. You wanna simplify with rooks. Like you wanna take on e8, he takes back, then you play rook to e1, and that's it. Hey, what's up? What's up? How's it going? Great stream times 3. What's that? What it means? Okay, he played knight to g4 times 3. Ooh, I don't know what that means, but okay. But thank you. So knight g4 threatening here. We can take this guy, of course. We can eliminate the knight. And then bishop takes, obviously. And then in the future, this knight becomes very strong against this bishop. If this knight comes to e5, that could be problematic. So now eliminating this knight would be ideal, because pushing g3, it's possible, but it's lowering our play here, because then knight e5 happens, it targets our bishop, opt for knight c4. So let's just eliminate this guy. Like, we don't like to simplify here, of course. Then bishop took. And now we can include h3. Why not, to get some, you know, king luft in the endgame and prophylaxis, defense, and so on. We're not in rush for anything. Now bishop comes back to f5. And yeah, as I mentioned, we can start simplifying with rook e1, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, and then we can go for rook e1. But the problem with that is that we lose then the pawn on c2. So we don't really want to lose that pawn. The bishop on f5 is eventually strong bishop. But what we can do, we can go for knight f4, but firstly we need to trade on e8, because if we go now directly knight f4, they will take us here, and then after we take back, they have queen takes d5. And who's gonna tell me in that position, do we have some tactics? Like, there is very beautiful tactics actually in that position. We can maybe try to trick our opponent, so we can go with a move knight to a4. And then we'll see some tactical options. Like, this doesn't look good because it looks like losing a pawn. But on the end of the day, we might have something. And yeah, if we push here to move c4, then this position is also very strong for us. Yeah, rook e8 stuff, yeah. But for example, to get there, you need to know that pattern. Like, you need to be already familiar and to create that in your mind, that you don't waste your time, take here and then go knight f4, allow him in line. You already start with knight f4, like, you don't waste your time. You know, chess is not possible to solve and play mathematically. It's everything about patterns and recognition. Like, that's why this knight f4 move works. Like, I'm proving my knight heading to b6, then I want to go on c4. b6 also protects the pawn, supports the attack. Not ideal square for the knight, but c4 will be ideal. And then knight c4 could be protected with b3, controls d6, kicks the queen, pushes d6, and it's just very strong position. So yeah, now rook takes e8, rook takes e1, and if queen takes d5, we don't take the queen back, of course, because it's not back rank checkmate. We are actually playing the move rook e8, and if they take back with rook, then queen takes d5. And do you notice now why we play the move h3? If bishop is on g4, and I didn't play the move h3, then this tactic doesn't work. Because on the end of the day, we win the queen, but they give us checkmate on e1. So that's why we needed. And every time you have a chance of creating the gap for your king, prophylactical moves such as h3, g3, here specifically h3, because putting your opponents on the light squares is better. It creates the dark square gap. And if they have dark square bishop, it's better to make the gap with a g3 pawn in this case. Because if we go g3, then we create a lot of light square weaknesses and they can create some counterplay, you know? So that's why h3. And also earlier h3 came with tempo, so it's logical. So okay, we are here. Hey, sup? Yeah, what's up? Okay, we took back with rook, of course, and now we hope that he falls for this trick. After this, he'll learn this trick for the rest of his life. Most probably take on d5 and we finish the game. Is this 15 plus 5? This is 15 plus 10 actually. So we have 10 seconds, I think. Yeah, 15 plus 10. This is 15 plus 10. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful position for white. Beautiful position. By the way, on Sunday, from 11 in the morning, like for the whole day, whole afternoon, we'll have the rapid live stream directly here on Twitch and YouTube. But there wouldn't be any sort of DGT boards, unfortunately, but I'll make I bought new lens, so this lens could like zoom better the board and you'll see everything fine, but there is no DGT board, so I hope you'll follow the games. It will be really strong rapid tournament. And now for those who didn't see the earlier part of the tactic, what is now the move? What is now the move here? Who's gonna tell me? How do we finish this opponent? Rook e8 check. Yeah. Rook e8 wins the queen. Boom. So if rook takes, then we take here. If the king moves, then we go for rook takes d8. I actually blundered in classical game this last summer. That was the moment where I was not completely focused on my chess. And in the last round of the tournament, I played this lower rated opponent, and in some cards bad position, I missed the rook e8 and my opponent resigns here. So beautiful. Let's take a look from the point of this game. So I'm gonna turn off the analysis. How this works. Do we keep the engine bar or... Yeah, we can keep them actually, yeah. Yeah, let's keep this. Yo, I started playing chess yesterday. What should I try to learn first? I don't know. Like, what is your level? Like, I don't know. Definitely, you should start learning a little bit of openings. Like, you need to know how to open up your game. That's for sure. Like, you can just start studying the tactics. So, okay, e4, e6, d4. We hope that we're gonna get a French defense, but then they played c5. So this is transposing into the... If we play knight f3 here, then we are directly into the Taimanov Sicilian with knight c6, or they can play Count Sicilian with a6 here. Of course, we don't play that. We play even better move here, and that's the move d5. This is book move, and this is still like the opening, but this opening is not great opening for black. The reason why it's not great, because it gives so much space for white, and creating a lot of weaknesses in the center on the light squares, especially if they go for e5. Now this position is very playable. There's many games online, many people likes to play this structure, but if white knows how to play this position, how to handle, usually you have the same pattern. You want to go knight f3, knight e2, knight c4, and also later you want to push f4 here, so you can like open up the center, retake back with your bishop, put a pressure usually on d6 pawn. Here he played a6, so he wants immediately to go for b5, but of course we stop that with the move a4. It's a typical move to stop any play on the queen side. And now he played the move bishop d7. I mentioned that this move is not correct. That doesn't make sense to play. He's not threatening b5 anyways. Like, preparing b5 is actually very slow here. Like, he needs b6, knight d7, rook b8, and then b5. that doesn't work here. So I played knight f3. He played takes. I take back with a pawn. Taking with knight is possible also, but this allows knight to get developed on c6, and I want to keep this Benoni structure with e takes. So now we control here, we control these squares. Still b5 is not possible. He developed... he actually played firstly h6, which is terrible move. Like, you should start developing here. Like, definitely better idea is to go with the bishop on this side, but now it's already feeling a little bit not good because of the d6 pawn hanging in many variations, and we are much faster to attack his backward pawn than they're able to develop. So he played h6. I don't know. He was scared of some bishop g5 pins, I guess. And usually people are playing this a lot on lower levels. They're playing h6, h3. They're so scared of some knight jumps, some pins. Like, you should not be scared. Like, here just play bishop e7. Okay, I will develop my bishop, then play knight f6. Who cares? I go bishop to g5. In this moment, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable square for my bishop, because sometimes I'm blundering the tactic of knight takes d5. I think here doesn't work because queen takes d5 won't recapture, but sometimes people are forgetting that this bishop is not so much safe here. And it's also under target. Then you can play the move h6, and then you can harass this bishop. So there is no need to start with h6. It's correct move, but it's wasting time. Then I developed, then I castled, and then I played knight e2. So this knight is heading to the c4 square. In these structures, in Benoni structures, if you can maneuver your knight on this side of the board, like, your dreams come true. And then you want to go a5, stuck the queen side. This knight is never developing. You see how much this bishop makes the effect and making this knight terrible. Also, this makes the rook terrible, and everything is terrible. He played bishop f5. Finally, he realized that he needs to develop the bishop. Then knight c4 comes. Now he castled, and I played a5 move. Okay, I mean, chess.com review system gave it as an inaccuracy. It wanted me to play the move bishop to f4, and the reason why it's because you want to take on d6 if they play knight bd7, and if you go here with a5, and now they play the move knight bd7 like they did in the game, bishop f4 is attacking the pawn, but now they can, you know, maybe go queen c7 or something and protect it. Your real rating is 2200, right? If you mean FIDE, my FIDE is currently live rating 2223, I think, something like that. If you mean chess.com, it's on like around 2750, something around that. Yeah, you're welcome. So at this point, my opponent blundered and played a move knight to e5. Actually, we had one trick here. I completely missed that. Yeah. Bishop takes e5 is the better move because after takes you go d6 and then you win the bishop. That's simple. Winning the piece. Don't mind me. I woke up 2 hours ago. So I took with a knight, which is also good. Like it likes it, but it's just a miss. And sometimes you can get annoyed if you lose the game and you miss this simple capture, traps the bishop. Easy stuff, right? But anyways, this wins the pawn, and sometimes, by the way, sometimes just to tell you, you won't be able to trap the bishop because this rook is usually on e8. And then if you go takes d6, if the rook is on e8, they have bishop f8. At that point, they're gonna escape and they're totally fine with the following position. Of course, white is still better, but you change the structure. So that's why maybe it's better to take. Okay, in this case, of course, we had a piece in our hand, but we missed it. Then he played bishop d6, we took on d6, they take it back. Now we just play bishop f3. So we consolidate our position, we are pawn up, and we not rush anywhere. They played rook e8, I played queen d2. So again, the system is giving us an accuracy, but it's totally fine move. There is nothing wrong about that one. Rook a d1, and now we put the rooks on the e line. Knight g4, and at this point we have to take. Otherwise, if we go g3 here to stop checkmate, then knight e5 happens, and suddenly counterplay. Like we need to go bishop g2, we waste a lot of time. Then if we move this bishop from this diagonal, knight f3 will be very annoying. By the way, pushing f4 here later is not really a deal. Like you don't want to expose your king side. So bishop takes g4 happened, bishop takes back, and now h3. So we like eliminate the pressure from the king side, and now he brought the bishop back here. And I showed you that knight f4 is a decent move here, and why bishop f5 is not the best, because bishop d7 would be much better, stopping knight f4. But then we have the entrance from different side, knight e4. So he can't really hold everything, and here after knight f4, it's a simple tactic that our opponent missed. Rook takes. Okay, it's not simple. It's not so much simple. But let's say expecting the levels above 2000, you should see this, you know, like it's a very common pattern where they resign the game because they're losing either the rook or the queen. Like if king h7, we just take the rook and we protect the queen indirectly. And also here, if they take our rook, then we just take the queen. That's a famous tactical pattern. That's common puzzle rush pattern. It is, you know, but you can't really see it in seconds that quickly, you know. Sometimes it requires time. But, you know, people are missing this. Not just that. People are missing everything. You talked about after moves 4-5. The pawn center setup was familiar. Do you tend to learn best moves around different pawn centers? Yeah, that's good question. You should learn the best ideas. Like for example, if you go all the way at the beginning, this is totally different. This is not French defense. This is not Sicilian. This is now Benoni structures. So you should know, for example, in Benoni structures, at least that your idea with this knight is somehow to come on c4. It's one of the best ideas and one of the ideas that gives you a lot of advantage in Benoni structures, but usually black intends to stop you in that maneuvering. Here you can achieve it because usually in Benoni it's much better to have bishop this way. For now it's much harder for them to make it since they played so pawn moves like maybe knight f3 here, knight c3. I think I played knight c3. And if they go g6 directly, it can get messy. Like bishop e5, bishop d7, knight f3. If bishop g7 here, then some e5 could happen, some breaks, you know. It's really annoying. Yeah, a bit of tragic way to end the game for your opponent. I mean, he blundered firstly the pawn. He actually blundered a piece earlier. So, yeah. I have a question. Do you do like private chess lessons? Yeah, I do. Yeah, you have information on my website. What happens if you don't take the rook? In which situation? On the end? If you main on king h7, then you just take the rook. If you main on that. Rook e8, check. He moves and you take the rook. And that's it. Game over. You win the rook. So if they trade queens, you're the whole rook up. Is that a position you want to ask? Or something else? Okay. So yeah, that was the game. That was the game. Now we go play another one. We cross 1700 level. That's good. All right, we are playing someone from Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is a very well-known country. So many strong chess players there. E4, and now we're gonna go for our favorite, of course, C5 Sicilian defense. C5, knight f3. Okay, knight c6. I never knew what's the difference of skill between chess masters, FIDE Master, international GMs. Can you explain that, please? Okay, yeah, that's a good question. You know, it's more about the feeling, you know. Okay, he played Rosalimo. And we're gonna now play. What line should I play? Like, there's so many lines. I can go e6. I can go knight f6. I can go g6. I know everything here, even d6. I didn't study too much e5, but yeah, like e6 is good. Let's start. Let's do e6 variation. I never knew what's the difference. So the thing is, it's more about a feeling. It's a lot about the feeling the game. You know, usually international, you can't really become mathematically international master and grandmaster that fast. Mathematically, you can't become. Like, it means you need to play a lot. Like, why these old kids nowadays are playing chess so much? They don't go to school. They are investing 5 coaches, parents, you know. So they don't go to school. They study chess every day for 12 hours just to get the experience. And they play every month 2-3 tournaments. And they're building the experience. Like, we also doing the same, but we are playing like 10 tournaments per year. They play 10 tournaments in 3-4 months. And plus they study much more than us. I mean, the kids, let's say. That's why kids are like doing so much better than adults. And the difference is, you know, on the feeling. Of course, sometimes FIDE Master could have better opening knowledge than International Master, but you know, it really depends how you compare it. How do you compare the... Okay, he castled. Now I'm gonna follow my game that I played recently in one of my recaps. Knight g7 against this girl, if you remember. The video actually went yesterday. Rook e1, like that's how people are playing, and now we play this move 94. So we challenge the center. Thanks for following. Okay, so yeah, generally, you know, okay, I can say that grandmasters are definitely next level. So we take back with a pawn. International masters are, let's say, yeah, and I don't have words how to explain that much different, but it's a lot on the feeling. You know, sometimes I can beat some international master convincingly, but on the other side, he can beat me in something that I'm not experienced. And he has more value and experience notes than me, but I'm still able to beat him. Even GMs, you know, like there is no player in the world that's not possible to beat. You know, everyone blunders today. c3 is the best move, and he knows the theory. That's surprising. Like, usually Iran plays here the move d3. We go a6 to kick this bishop. I can generally recommend you to stick to one opening. Don't experiment too much. If you need to have one foundation of repertoire. Like, you need to know what you're playing on this move, on this move, on this move, on the most popular variations. Like on d4 you play King's Indian, on e4 you play Sicilian, on as white you're playing, I don't know, e4, on French defense you play this line, on Caro-Kann this line, on e5 Italian, on this, like, you just form your repertoire. And then you need to play like minimum 100 games, like minimum 100 games in that opening to say, okay, I feel comfortable here, I have experience. Like, not online games. Online games you can play 100 per day. I mean, also online is very important. Nowadays is very important to play online to practice your theory, but it's much more valuable to play over the board, because during over the board game you're breaking through the position with your thoughts, you know, like you're studying during playing the game. That's uncommon for people to understand. You're literally studying during your game. And okay, maybe you studied wrong because you made some blunders, but game per game, you will see the difference. Like, you'll see that your understanding goes up. You'll make mistakes, of course, everyone does. But at some point you'll have stability in that opening, and then you can say, okay, now I'm gonna switch. Not switch, now I'm gonna add another variation. Like, for example, you played Sicilian Kalashnikov. Okay, now I'm gonna play Accelerated Dragon. Okay, then you even do that. Like, after some time, you will actually be a master if you know all these openings very well. So this opponent is actually following the theory. He's doing it very well. b4 is the best move here. b4 is the best move. So he wants to go bishop b2 now. That's clever. So I'm thinking now. So my opponent knows the theory. That's surprising. So what did they play first? Okay, knight c6, then he pushed this. Okay, makes sense. b5, a4. That's annoying. That's quite annoying. I think I should go here for the move bishop d6. I think that's the best move in the position. So this is a little bit specific variation where many people would actually go for plan d3 here, just logical, right? Logical developing system. And then open up the diagonal, like just push f4 and so on, which is not correct. It's actually much smarter to go for undermining the pawn center, you know, with c3 and putting pressure on d4, because this pawn actually limits a lot of stuff on their side. So okay, they play bishop b2, that's smart. And now I think the only move for me is to take here on c3. I think that's my only move, because otherwise they will take back on d4 and later on they will push d5. So I think here it's time to take, if I remember theory correctly. But I'm really surprised that this 1800 people knows this variation. Thanks for following. So many people following today. Okay, pawn takes c3. I tried to play Sicilian over the board. It was a big mistake, too much theory to study, and my coach was against it, but I wanted to try. Yeah, I mean, depends what is your style. Like, there is nothing wrong with Sicilian. There is just nothing wrong with Sicilian. Now we can do a little bit more fancy stuff. Queen c7. Let's do something on this diagonal. Like, we have a little bit weird structure, but at some point could pays off, because like if we manage to push b5 followed by bishop b7, now for example we didn't castle, g3 if happens, then we have h5, h4. h3 is smarter move because it's restricting the attack on the king side. Let me check this guy a little bit. Okay, yeah, he played g3. Depends what is your playing style. Like, you cannot judge by opening. Like, you can judge by style. Like if you are more like you don't like aggressive positions, you don't like complications, then of course, yeah, like you should not play Sicilian. You should play e4, e5. I don't know. Isn't the queen inactive? In this position, queen on c7 helps this diagonal. So now we can try something like h5 here to spice it up more. Because we didn't castle and we have this perfect formation. This is correct take. Like it's opening the d line, but they need to know how to use it. Like now the best plan for white is to go knight e2, knight c4 to take control and attack this bishop. Yeah, my bishop is crying. He's a baby boy now. He's crying, but b5, bishop b7 will happen, or b6. So he'll get eventually develop. He'll have some purpose. But that's how this line speaks. You know, sometimes, you know, for example, if you're a player who never plays Sicilian, you would not understand this position. Because like why you're putting your bishop in front of your pawn, why you're unlocking your, you see, like why did you do that to your bishop? Like why did you make your French bishop there? It's because I'm opting for pressure on the king side, and now he blunders the pawn. You see, he blunders the pawn on b4. I can take it actually with a knight. I think that's much better and much smarter. In this case, I will lose the g7, but who cares about that pawn? I don't need g7 pawn. I actually don't want to allow him the c5 to happen. I actually think that knight takes here is a very good option for me now. Because okay, I can also go bishop takes. But I want to keep my bishop for this specific diagonal here. It's a free material, but there is cons and pros from this move. Like it makes sense at some point. It makes some sense. It makes some sense this move, but I think it's not the best. Also, there is an option to go h4 here, which also makes sense. h4, rook, bishop takes g7, rook h7, take, then sack the bishop. Interesting. Yeah, maybe we should not we should not panic here. Maybe we should just collect the pawn. Maybe we should just okay, takes the pawn, bishop takes here, e5. Moves the bishop, bishop f6. Yeah. There's no couple of options for us here. If I go h4, bishop or c5 can happen actually. Then I have here. Then bishop e5. This doesn't do much. This. They move, or even queen g4. Yeah, I think that I think I'll take this guy here with knight. I think it's not the best move, but it's possible. Anyways, so many people in chat actually. Let's see missed comments. At first, there is no need to be adding different variations to your repertoire. I think Ilya is referring to more experienced players. I'm like 70 FIDE. I'm not proficient with my rep yet. Yeah, you should definitely not add more openings. On that level, it's enough to play one. Oh, FIDE rating? Yes, then that makes sense. I'm 19 FIDE and I know one opening for the eternity of white. I'm out of prep in 3 most max. I'm only 17, 16 rapid man. Also another good player here. That's why it is so much work to do on other stuff. Can I get to 1900 all over the board if I play tournaments? I'm 2150 chess.com rapid. Most probably yes. That's a solid foundation. I mean, not really sure how fast, but you can with a good work. Yeah, like now I just play d4 and try to get into some positional middle game as white. I'm quite underrated, but I'm trying to get back into over the board. Yeah, I mean, as beginner in this game, for example, you should always start with e4. Like beginners always should start with e4. That's the most natural way to learn. Like d4, just forget about that. And okay, 1800. I mean, still e4. E4 is law. E4 is law. That's very important. Like this increases everything. Later on, you can play whatever you want, but with e4, you start actually seeing the things much further. Love your videos about Stonewall against Katam. I'm trying to use it for Tom since I have to play for the win in standard game. Yeah, not just you. There's many players, even like 23 plus FIDE, told me that they like that idea and they kind of stole it from me. It's not my idea, obviously, but I kind of made the explanation on that. So it's very nice. What was your plan if opponent went a3 protecting b4 and then c4? I think that's actually the plan. Going with a plan of a3 and protecting with b4 was one way of playing. Now I'm not really sure what's gonna happen in this game because he played with pawns a couple of times, not developed. Won't have this decent attack on the king side. So now knight b4, a3 doesn't do much. I just come back. Okay, he finally take. I can also go rook g8, followed by h4. That's also another option. But rook h7 seems to be more tempting here. Rook h7, e5, rook takes, pawn takes. Or rook h7, this, bishop c5, bishop f6. Maybe queen b6. Or b6, bishop b7. Rook h7 seems to be a little bit out of control after some ideas like this that appears in the game. But I'm not still sure what is the most efficient way of... So rook h7, e5 is the best move. Bishop c5, bishop f6. And then they're threatening a3 followed by some bishop d3 or queen c2. So then if we push, then even there is queen g4. And if I go rook g8, e5, bishop c5, bishop f6. Yeah, that's another option. But then we'll lose later h5 pawn. Yeah. So it's a tricky moment. Let me think. Yeah, maybe rook h7 is the easiest try. 7 minutes on clock. Not bad. No worries. I read chat. I have to read chat. My main wide openings are London system and Vienna system. Okay, he played e5. That was correct by him. If I take here, he takes here. I play queen c5. That's actually one very nice option. Because then we keep the track. Maybe actually that's better. Maybe actually we go for that. Because this bishop is very important. He kind of restricts our king. Maybe I forget that this option is very nice. I didn't want to give up my strong bishop, but my bishop on c5 will attack the king side. That's true, but this bishop is doing an amazing job in restrictions. So... And also it blocks the diagonal. So I think rook takes g7, and then we go queen c5. On any a3 we come back. Looks terrible. Don't worry, we're gonna get developed. So let's take here. So many comments there. Let's take a look. Thanks for following. Who is that? Smeta? Okay, yeah. Hope pronounced it well. My main repertoire is opening London system and Vienna system. Okay, that's not bad. Sometimes I wonder if I'm tactical or positional. I like tactical more, however. I keep making overside when I have the opportunity or when my opponent has it, probably because of my calculation skill. You know, we need dynamics in the game, so, you know, you can't just play positional chess. Okay, this happened. I play queen c5. I need to protect my pawn, and at the same time I'm activating a little bit. I like that this pawn is only protected by queens, so at some point we can take it. On this we're gonna bring the knight back. There is no dark square bishop, so we are very safe on the dark squares. So that's good deal. It might be low accuracy, and hey, it's fun playing it. That's why I can. Tang masked a lot. That's the nature of tactical play. I would say low accuracy. Tal was only player that on attack he sacrificed. When they attack him, he always sacrifices, or he attacks it back. So knight c3, natural move. They're trying to, maybe play knight e4, followed by knight f6. Yeah, that's very nasty, coming very nasty. So we need as soon as possible to develop our bishop. It's a little bit tricky position for me. It's a tricky position. They're about to put a knight on a very good square. Forgot about that one. Okay, now there is nice tactical idea for my opponent. Like he can go knight e4 and then queen f5, queen takes h5, queen takes h5, and knight f6 is very nasty. Yeah, I missed that. But okay, we can... yeah, we need to bring this bishop to the game somehow. Okay, if we go queen f5 immediately, and then try to knight c2. Some ideas with knight c2, that's also interesting. Yeah, let's go queen f5. Hope I don't blunder something. F5 hangs the h5, yeah. Yeah, maybe I badly evaluated this, but maybe knight takes b4 was not good. Okay, he decided to exchange the pieces now with knight e5, which is actually fine for me. I'll take it. Why not? And I guess he takes back with a pawn, right? Taking with a pawn is like one solution. I'm down 250 elo since I stopped playing for real. Yeah, you have to play. You need experience. So now we can go b5 followed by bishop e7. Yeah, we can go for that. We need quickly to develop this bishop. We can't wait. Now this pawn on d6 makes a lot of sense. Okay, you can't take on d5 because you're pinned, so be careful about that one also. Don't get in trouble. What do you think is the hardest skill to improve in chess? Like calculation, evaluation? Okay, obviously evaluation, I think. So they attack our rook now. They're also threatening queen h8, so we don't want to blunder mate in 1. That's for sure. But we can offer the queen trade. That's, I think, nice idea. Offering the queen trade here. That's allowing rook e4, but who cares? Like, I think rook will be poorly placed then on e4 later. I think, yeah, okay, calculation everyone can improve. But they're very connected. Calculation and evaluation are very connected, parts. To calculate properly, you need to evaluate also on the other side. So yeah, my opponent is really annoying me with these moves, and he's playing so well, to be honest with you. Like, it's very suspicious play by him. But, okay, I don't want to accuse anyone. So, yeah, I'm a little bit now skeptical about my position. I'm a bit skeptical of my position. Okay, he can't attack my pieces, obviously, but I have to speed up, and I also need some... I need some trades here. I need to trade some pieces. So... He wants this. That's annoying. That's really annoying. What if I go f6, takes, opens the line. There's check. Can't do that. What else? What else I can do? Oh my god. Not a good position. Oh, actually, maybe I have this and this. Maybe that will help. Let's try. Attack the pawn. I don't want to be that guy, but white is playing suspiciously well. Sort of. Did white... Yeah, I just blundered, yeah. I just blundered. Yeah. I just blundered. Yeah, I just blundered. If we go here, he'll take. Yeah, now bishop g2. Aha, makes sense, yeah. Makes sense. He just had one game today with 98.3. We'll see this game, how it goes. Makes sense. Yeah. Why it takes him so long to play the move bishop g2? Like, yeah, I know I'm lost, but it's kind of suspicious how I lost the game. Yeah. So he spent always around 20 seconds per move. Now bishop g2. My bishop is trapped, so I'll resign the game. Let me take a game review just quickly to see the evaluation. So. Oh my god. I can smell them. Like, look at this. I can just smell them every single time. Yeah, this guy, yeah. Okay, I don't care about that. I don't care about cheaters and this stuff. But the thing is, it was so obvious, and he ruined my... He simply ruined my streak. So now I lost the game. And when you take a look at my profile, the speedrun is not going well because I lost the game, and it's not good, But okay, we're gonna report him. It was so obvious. They're gonna instantly ban him, I think. It was very obvious. Anyways, I mean, he actually showed you how to play as white. So we can take a look at the game. I did something wrong for sure. So, okay, knight c6, b4, bishop d6. And yeah, bishop d6 was correct. That was correct. Bishop b2 was correct. I mean, on his side, everything was correct, but I'm now looking on my side and the point of this variation. So what I have recently in my game in Relton Cup in the 5th round against this girl, she played d3 so quickly, and it looks like... how do you know he was cheating? Like 99%, spending the same amount of time on each move. Some obvious move, he spent the same amount of time as the moves that are looking disgustingly strong to play, That's how I know. And you'll see, they will give me rating back for sure, like he's cheater. So yeah, d3 is something I faced myself in many games, But the point is d3 doesn't help the attack on the f4 because like how the variation actually goes. We go knight g6, people play f4, now we go bishop d6. And here we are already slightly better according to the engine. Because if e5 happens, this just creates the weaknesses more, and then after a6, b5, eventually we're gonna have very nice diagonal here, and it's really sensible for them. So, you know, mostly the Sicilian players, the mono-Sicilian players will understand that this is beautiful position for us. It's just beautiful position. So he played c3. That's the best book move, by the way. Best book move. I played a6. He played bishop to f1. And then I played knight c6. He played b4. That's all correct. And after bishop d6, bishop b2 is also correct. I think if I go bishop e7, since I didn't play bishop d6 on bishop b2, I have d5. So that's now interesting version for me. And when we take a look at bishop d6 variation, now I don't have d5, but it's now tactical because I'm relying on pressure on the king side, you know. And in this position, on bishop e7, the best is to go a4 actually, and then to harass the knight with b5. Because it was too obvious, it's gonna be very soon. Come after they ban him. Can you make a club and make a tournament? Yeah, maybe I can. Yeah, maybe I can make the club. On chess.com, right? That's how it works. Like the thing that other streamers are doing. Like making the club and then make the own tournament arena, right? And then we play some chess. Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. We can do that. Yeah, I can do that. I think it's not complicated. If yes, I'm gonna search for some help. But I think I did that actually in the past. I have some club, but it's inactive. I actually started posting more interesting patterns on and diagrams on my Discord channel. I think there is a Discord link in. Just let me see. Oh, there is no Discord here. There is no Discord. Maybe I can give it to you now. Discord channel. Yeah, here you can take a look at it. On YouTube, YouTube people has Discord, but Twitch people don't have. So you can enter Discord, and then more announcements are there. Okay, so let's continue the game. The point is, this pawn is so strong that white needs to eliminate this pawn somehow. And b4 is the point to stop bishop c5. Bishop c5 is so fucking good move here. Why so good move? It's because protects the pawn, relies on this diagonal, creates pressure, and so on. As d6, also c5 is good. And if you compare to some other variation, like let's say they play here the move d3, which is very logical, and then we follow with this line of knight g6. Let's say they play knight d2. We play 6, bishop a4. We can include b5. We can also play bishop c5 here. That's all optional. But the point is, when they challenge this, okay, here for example, bishop is hanging, but let's move it somehow. Let's make some moves and then go for bishop e7, c3, and yeah, here you can see recommendation is to go bishop to c5. As plus you have the knight on c6. This just increases the tension and pressure on d4 square. So eventually, c3 is the best, that's the reason, and then b4 to stop bishop c5, very well known theory, bishop d6, bishop b2, and now we have to take, that's the only move. Otherwise, if you play anything else, I think if you go something like b5, then just c takes, and like if you go bishop takes here, then d5, and like collapses, like he's losing now. Or if you take here with a knight, I think you are still in a trouble after d5. So it's just bad position. Now actually they're threatening to trap your knight. It's so bad position for black. So d takes c3. Thanks for following. D takes c3, the best. Queen c7, the best. G3, the best. And now I played first in accuracy. And of course my opponent knows so good chess that he played the move c4. as the best move in the position, c4. I didn't expect that this move is the best one. It looks very... Okay, chess.com review is giving as an excellent move, but if you take a look at engine here, it's the top engine move, so it's the best move. Maybe not the best opening played, most played move here, but it's the best. Now I made mistake with knight b4. I actually should go here for h4, where my opponent will find bishop g7. I play rook g8. e5 is the best. Bishop takes b4. Bishop f6. So what is this? Like, this is very artificial for them to accept, but on the other side we have so many problems on the dark squares. Yeah, the thing is, in these structures you mentioned, I think you must develop c8 b7. Don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about that bishop. This bishop eventually comes to the game. He'll find his spot in the game. No worries about that. Yeah, people are going crazy now, but this is actually a very good line for black if white doesn't know. Like, h3 is also possible. Then you go b6, knight d2, you go bishop b7, they go knight c4, you go bishop h2, king h1, and here b5 kicks the knight, and some line like bishop e5. So it's fun line. Now you finally develop your bishops, so it's good. But eventually my opponent knows chess better than me. He's a more experienced player. He played c4. I don't know how he found it, but looks very obvious. Now he took on b4 with a knight. He took on g7, of course the best move in the position. I played rook h7, correct move, nothing bad. e5, of course, is the best move in the position. I took on g7, he took there, and I evaluate here as playable, but since my opponent is FIDE master with 2 international norms, he showed me that knight c3 following with 95 or 94 is just in a very big touch. And the thing is now, if I go something like b6, he has this 94, and on queen f5 he has also this kind of ideas, queen takes h5 and queen takes h5, knight f6, and even the endgame isn't losing for me. So, but eventually there is some much better moves, knight to d5. So I thought that this simplification could help me a little bit, but actually not. My opponent showed a very big class here and experience. I push b5 in terms to do something. h4 doesn't do anything. People are mentioning h4 here, but it doesn't do anything. Like, when you go h4, he can just ignore. You don't threaten anything. Like, he can play rook c1 and go rook c7 and queen c1 and win the game. Like, you take, they take back with h. Like, you go, even they let you play, just to give you one angle. Okay, now it's completely lost. They can go d takes c6 or bishop d3. It's winning, but I want to give you just one angle. Let's just play rook to a1. I play here, they play here, I play here. And now I play just move bishop g2. So you're not giving me a checkmate. Anytime bishop is on g2, you can't give me a checkmate. You need additional support somewhere from this side of the board. Like, that's how much white is safe here. My only plan is to do something with the queen side, but eventually, as my opponent is much better player than me, he showed that he's trapping my rook in the corner with very obvious tactics. And he won the game. We can check his profile once more again. He played some bullet games then after. Okay. So, yeah, at least we learned the line. We just checked. We just played with engine and we learned the line. Okay, let's start new game. So, okay, we are again black. Hopefully we get... oh, we get another Sicilian. I don't know, it's better to play against very strong title player. Engine responds with some moves, then that doesn't make sense of human. Even a strong GMs. Yeah. Knight c6. No, he definitely cheated. Like, he definitely cheated. No doubts with that. No doubts. Hopefully Kalashnikov. Yeah, hopefully we meet Kalashnikov opening now. Oh, he played bishop c4, as most players are doing in these positions. So, this is possible line, but it's harmless. We just play the move e6, and then we want to go as soon as possible knight f6 and d5. The link is not working. How? Oh, my bad. No. This is my bookmark link. I don't know why. No, this link is not working. Wait. 1 second. Sorry, my bad. If you meant for the Discord link, yeah, it's not working. So 1 second. Where is the invitation link? Invite. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this Discord so much. So invitation. Invite to server. Yeah. Copy link. Yeah, makes sense now. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, now it's better. I think now you have. And here you go in the YouTube. Yeah, you can join the Discord server. We can have some fun there, analyze some diagrams from my games. I'll also announce many stuff there, so be informed. Okay, he played knight c3, so typical, usually that's how people are playing a Sicilian. They are looking into the just normal developing moves, and it reminds me on Italian game, but since we have the e6 pawn here, we are very comfortable with this zoning and restrictions, so that's a good stuff for us. Okay, d4. It's a possible move here. It's opening the game completely, and it's good, but I think bishop standing here, it's not the best one. I think this is not a good spot for the bishop. We're gonna simply take now, of course. We don't want to allow them for d5. Oh, guys, I have great news. I recently applied for visa for one country to participate on one tournament and stream that tournament. And I didn't want to tell you where is that. Now, I just got email and it says your application for United Kingdom UK visa has been successful. That's great. You have granted the entry clearance to the UK from 8 February until 8 of August. So I just got visa. W in the chat. So yeah, then I'm gonna announce the tournament. Since I got a visa, I'm gonna announce the tournament today or the day after. Okay. That's good news. So let's back to the game. 94 happens. And now we can go for bishop c5, where most probably they're going to play the move bishop to e3. But there is one thing with this position. If we go the move bishop c5 and they go bishop to e3, we have to react in that moment because they're threatening knight takes e6. And I'm thinking now, firstly, should it go a6 with the idea of b5? Of course, on a6 they can take on c6. And then if they take back with a pawn, they will play the move e5 maybe. Then after 95, 94, and these positions are usually considered very solid for white. As I remember, this now reminds me of some like Taimanov, Paulsen variation. If I allow that. I'm not really sure should I allow that. This is now a little bit unfamiliar field to me. But it sounds. I can say it sounds. It has some ideas. So if I go a6, knight takes e6, b takes e6. I don't want to trade queens, that's why b takes e6. Then e5, 95, 94. And then, okay, maybe we go later a5. This sounds interesting. We also have some ideas of f5. Yeah, let's go for a6. Why not? Why not to try this? Why not to experiment? so many followers. Why not d5? d5 is also possible, maybe even the best move in the position. But it's kind of drying the game, I think. Like if I went d5 here, they will obviously take. I'll take back. They'll drop the bishop somewhere back, and I'm playing with this isolated pawn, which... yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I just picked a different line. I wanted to build up the b5. He plays bishop f4. Yeah, now on b5, takes, trading the queens. It's a bit riskier option for me. So that's the reason why I will maybe start firstly with knight takes d5. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4, b5, and then bishop e7. And this sounds interesting. This sounds interesting, yeah. Actually, yeah, I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan, guys. I think that's the plan. Bishop b4 instead of a6. I think there is many options here. It just depends what is your style and how you want to play this game. Now, for example, I see knight takes, queen takes, d6, but e5. Takes, queen takes, castles, rook e8, bishop takes e5. And this position could be annoying for us, because our king is not castled. Yeah. But on e5, maybe I have knight h5, when the queen is on d4. And then I'm threatening the bishop. Bishop goes somewhere back, then I take on e5. Interesting. Let me think. If I go b5, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, castles, king e8, bishop b3, bishop b7. Yeah, I think that position is fine for me. I think that position is fine. Unless he has some sacrifices. No sacrifices. b5. Fork on e5. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? Is e5 works? Who's gonna tell him? Yeah, e5 here. Is it working? Who's gonna tell them? Not e5 fails, of course, because they have intermezzo. There is knight takes e6, yes. And then after pawn takes, then they simply take the pawn here. So sometimes forks are obvious, but they're not working. Okay, he take, that was obvious. Now we have to take back. He'll start trading the queens. Yeah, that's obvious. That's obvious. And yeah, we build this beautiful position for the endgame grind. We have these pawns here and here that okay, he didn't like trading. He didn't like trading, that's interesting. We can now play the move bishop b7, and if they go e5, which is one plan for white, then we can go knight e5. We also have ideas of going c5, c4. Maybe that's how we should proceed, like to go c5, and then next move we go bishop b7 and some c4 variations where we apply certain pressure on this diagonal. That looks interesting, but we have to keep in mind that our king is still in the center and to not blunder some tactics. For example, now there is this idea of takes, knight takes, and then knight c7, which is very painful. But the problem with that idea is after all these trades, we have queen a5, and they are really forced to come back with a knight. So whenever you are like pushing your pawns, you always need to remember, are you safe to continue with that? Because it's making position more sensible. Like pawn on c6 is eventually great pawn, protects everything, but we need some diagonals to get open, you know. Endgame is probably better. Yeah, I think it's better. Now he even creates more weaknesses with his move b3 that doesn't help him too much. We have some ideas of c4 followed by bishop b4, where they will most probably bring the bishop back, but we don't want to rush with that. We're gonna firstly go bishop b7, develop our bishop, and then looking forward to some sacrifices, which increase the pressure, obviously. Maybe I had already c4 move, which is really annoying. B takes, bishop b4, bishop d2, queen d4, and then when they move the knight, like knight e2, then takes, king takes, because if queen takes, there is queen takes a1. So if king takes, king comes out, and yeah, maybe I actually had the move c4. Maybe I missed the chance of putting him under big pressure. Bishop c4 against Sicilian isn't theory, but it's somehow the most common move from 14 to 1900. I always used to just play e6, d7, d5 with tempo on the bishop and no problems for black. That's actually correct. That's the very much correct way of playing. But there is theory. There is actually theory in the bishop c4 Sicilian. I'll show you after the game some theory part, which I actually played myself, and I got played in one of my games when I was black. I played myself with white and I played myself with black, and it's very interesting positions. But it's very peaceful. So now, guys, I earlier recommended the move c4, which was, under some suspicious alert, because is it working or not? We need to calculate more deeper. But since now the queen moved and there is no protection on this rook, now we are calculating the initiative and intermediate moves. Like c4 is definitely trapping the bishop. That means they can't play with the bishop. They need to take it back with a pawn. Then we have beautiful pin, which is only possible to save with bishop d2 and queen d2. King d2 we're not going to even consider, because then queen d4. So bishop b4, bishop d2. And after bishop d2, since the queen moved from d1, we have beautiful move queen to d4. Not queen to a5, queen to d4, because then we make a double pin on knight on one side and on a king on the other side. That freezes the knight. It means they can't move the knight because they lose the rook in the corner. And even if they move the knight, in the earlier situation, we could take on d2, and it's forcing, if the queen is on d1, it's forcing them to take back with the king, because queen needs to stay in shape and protect the rook on a1. So c4 is now a very beautiful move. On the other side, there is this move bishop e5, which protects the knight this way, which is hard to find. But we in that moment have at least something like additional pressure with queen to a5, and then depends on what they play. So we're gonna go for c4. It's really tempting. I feel this is working, so I feel this works very well. And now we go for the move bishop b4. So we pin this knight. They play bishop d2, the most common move. And now in this moment, we are making the final touch in this game. And that's the move queen d4. And eventually how we win the game. Tactic explained. Everything works properly. GG, game over. I mean, not yet, but eventually we'll win. Now my opponent realizes that he's under double pin and he can't really move the pieces properly. You have taking on no, I don't agree with you, because after take, I can take knight takes, and then your bishop hangs on b4. And okay, why would you prioritize capturing the pawn when you can go for the piece? Doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, he's now in a big problem. He's now in a big problem for sure. He's facing a lot of troubles. Okay, he played the move e5, considering that making the counterplay is good enough for him, but I think that in the worst case scenario, we can take on c3. I guess they take here. Then if we take here, they have king takes, and then they defend the rook in the corner. So maybe it's just the best to bring the knight back. Yeah, I think bring the knight back is just enough, right? Knight e7 targets the pawn. They don't have counterplay, obviously. Yeah, I think just knight to d7 is enough in this position, because they're still pinned. There's no other tactics. There's no need to complicating and taking, because you're allowing the counterplay. So just knight d7. You want to take here, you want to go there. If you're in there, we are much better, of course. Yeah, I mean, now everything is nice because you're winning the piece. So it doesn't really matter if your king is in the center or not, but eventually you want to reduce his counterplay as much as you can. So many followers. Thanks for following. Yeah, that's nice. Tired. Yeah, he burns a lot of time, but we also burn the time for explanations, so... Just change everything and close the game. I agree with you. Thanks for following again. He castled finally, and yeah, now it's time to take the knight. It's a free piece. There is no queen trap. The rook is also hanging. In the worst case scenario, guys, in the worst case scenario, if they play bishop e3, we can even take the rook, and if they take it back, we just take back with our bishop, and we get rook and two minor pieces for the queen, which is also possible scenario. Like, you know, you always need to count on backup plan, like some worst case scenario, something you are not strictly want to play, but you feel it's possible, you know, like, but you know that there's something better. Obviously, you know, okay, this guy just gives everything for us. This guy is giving everything free. Yeah, he doesn't have any counterplay, so we can just go for just taking his pieces. Why not? He's just eliminating everything, right? Just change everything and close the game. I agree with you. I agree with you. Can you first take on c4 to not lose an extra pawn? Or in which moment? Ah, here. I guess you can. But you just got a rook. Like, who cares about a pawn? Who cares about a pawn? In one of my over the board game, I blunder bishop takes b5. Yeah, bishop takes b5 is common. It's common blunder in these positions. We'll take a look. But eventually we won in 15. I mean, we are much better after 10 moves in the game, so we'll see where our opponent made mistakes and what he could do better, obviously. So now they're threatening our bishop. We're gonna play the move bishop c6 before we continue everything else. How long took you to get FIDE Master? Oh yeah, one guy earlier asked me what was my peak in Blitz. On chess.com, I recently reached the peak of 2796. I was 4 rating points to cross 2800. It was actually 2 nights ago. And then I got tired and I lost 20 points. So I peaked at 2796 in Blitz on my different account, anonymous account. And if you mean on FIDE FIDE Blitz was like maybe 2320. Standard was 2317 pick. So yeah, that's some stats about my rating. Nothing special, nothing much. Okay, he played the bishop b4. He's giving another piece away. Why not to take? It's a free piece. Okay, he'll take the other, but simplifying is totally fine for us. And the question, how long took you to get to the FIDE Master title? I mean, it took me so much in terms of experience. I actually got it in 4 months. Let's say like that. But I had how that's called. Let me check. Let me ask the. I forgot a word. No, that's not a word. But maybe yes. I don't know. I had like substrate, right? Or layer or something like that. I had a very good substrate for FIDE Master title because I used to have 2200 elo, even 2250, even like 5-6 years ago. So I was experienced on that level. I was already playing many strong players. Then it dropped a lot because of my stupid idea to go in Turkey and play some chess with kids there, and in return they got experience. I got money. I lost so many ratings there. Those matches you can check on FIDE, like that happened like 4 years ago. That was a really fun expedition in Turkey, and got crushed by these kids. I mean, eventually you don't get crushed. Like eventually you just lose the game. Like mathematically and statistically, if you play the lower rated tournaments only, you have to perform always like 90%, more than 85 or 90% to stay in a plus. So you have no options to lose the game in these kind of tournaments. And eventually got tired. The schedule is a bit, messy. They are very ambitious. They want to beat you. You play so many games and then you lose. And that's how I lost so many rating points. Then I came back. It took me like 2 years to get back to stabilize. And then in December 2023, I decided to start playing seriously. I hired my first coach for the long time. At that point, we started learning some new openings. At that time, I started learning Kalashnikov a lot. I remembered, maybe even earlier. But with that coach, I expertise this opening. A3. Okay, we just play Queen C3, let's say. Target's the rook. So yeah, that was okay, I didn't finish the story. I didn't finish it. Good prerequisites to become FIDE Master. Yeah, and I knew that eventually it will come, and then in 4 months I won like 200 points of rating, which was a decent experience. I played some tournaments. Also, you need a lot of luck. Today in chess, you need a lot of luck. It's not just like the theory. Like there's many things that are required. It's not just the openings, the preparation. You need to have luck. You need to be in a good shape. You need to have confidence. You can't get scared. You can't think about other stuff before you go in the tournament. Like for adults, this is the hardest stuff. They have family, kids, job. They're literally separating the time for the chess tournaments. When you're a kid, you don't care about anything. Like you just play chess. Parents pay for you if they have money. If they don't have the money, if you're so good, you got sponsors. Like for example, this kid Faustino Oro, what he's doing, he's only studying chess. Like he doesn't care about anything. When you're a bit older, you have other stuff, and it's not the same. Let's take this pawn now. I'm from Greenland. Save us. Oh yeah, you do have some problems there. I don't know what's happening, but I never heard that someone is from Greenland. How do you mean by saving you? What's happening there? Why do you play Kalashnikov, not Sveshnikov? I found Kalashnikov more tricky for this area of, Balkan area. No one actually studied that opening in the past seriously. Then it got popularized last year a lot. Even many strong players start playing it. I like it very much because it's dynamic opening. Sveshnikov is also dynamic, but it's more studied than Kalashnikov. Sveshnikov is more solid, of course. Are you originally from Serbia? Yeah, I'm originally from Serbia. Do you like freestyle chess? I do like. It's fun. But sometimes it's, too much. Like, people likes the normal variation of chess. And I think freestyle will get more popularized, but it will take some time. Supposedly, Faustino goes to school where he's probably studying chess anyway. I'm not really sure. Yeah, he goes through the school, most probably some private school. And then later on after the school where he teaches chess, he again studied chess. Question mark. JKim43. So, okay, will our opponent resigns? He has so much material down. What he's trying to do here, I don't know. Yeah, sounds fun. Queen h5, obviously they want some pressure, but we can simply take this guy here and there is no other problems. I don't get it. What, you don't get it? Thanks for following. Okay, and now, yeah, how do we finish the game the easiest way? Yeah, maybe just take the pawn, stack the rooks, and that's it. Yep. Stack the rooks, go for rook b1, and that's it. For a guy with 4K subs, your content is really high quality. Thank you very much. Appreciate. It's so nice. You can also take the pawn on d3 and he can take back. He can actually. I saw that. He can actually, because after take and rook b1 there is rook d1. I saw this I saw this tactic, of course, but it's not working because queen is protecting that square also on d1. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the analysis of this game. It's really crucial for the theoretical part of this opening. So yeah, this is classical version of this, called Old Sicilian, or generally you can also get this from bishop c4, but it's apparently the different system now, because they want to play something like a3 and then later f4, bishop a2 followed by d3 and so on. That's how they do. It's also a nice version, but when they play the move knight f3, it's totally different. And now we go e6, here knight c3. The best is actually castles, and after knight f6 to go rook e1. That's how I get one game in European Championship I think a year ago. And this international master from Romania played this, and now the line goes knight takes, rook takes, d5, sacrifice the bishop, knight c3, very forcing line, going d4, takes, exchange everything, and here you have to play move bishop e7 to not allow rook to d8. And now everyone plays bishop e3. Here you can castle, but it's a bit uncomfortable because then rook f4 happens, and then rook g4 is also another uncomfortable idea. So before you go there, I like h5. That's very nice. And then you go from that point, you play a6, bishop d7. If they move the rook, then bishop c6, or a6, b5, bishop b7. And you got nice position. You want to castle also at some point. But it's important of h5 that they don't have later rook g4. That's why you covered that. So at this point, my opponent didn't play that. He actually played knight c3. Knight c3, knight f6 anyways. d4 played. That's actually solid move. Now we take, they take, and here I played move a6, which is not the best. d5 someone recommended earlier, but you are accepting the isolated pawn structure, and if you're a fan of these positions, you can, of course, play that. So it's very nice, anyways, to see this. Like, it's possible to play. Maybe that would be another option. I picked a6 because I wanted to go for this b5 line. He played bishop f4, and again d5 is possible. You're just transposing into the same line, but he doesn't have now bishop b5, which is a good thing. So I played b5, he take on c6, take it back, and now I was expecting queen trade. Queen trade was interesting. And then something like oxide castles. King e8, bishop e2, and then we play from this point. Like f3, maybe, you know, h5 to stop g4, there'll be so much space for them. At some point, like bishop e7. Yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable because this bishop seems to be very strong, but black is fine here. Like, it's only 0.34 for white. But instead he went bishop d3, I played c5, and according to engines it's not the best move, because they can start punishing it with this, and if I go knight to d5, bishop e4, and if bishop b7, queen f3, followed by rook d1. That's an uncomfortable line. Yeah, I missed that, to be honest. I played this part with c5 too ambitious, not because any sacrifice here exists. It also looks possible, but there is queen a5 move, and there is no knight c7. So we are safe. That sacrifice doesn't work. So yeah, c5 a bit ambitious. Bishop b7 is much better first. And then after b3, here I already have the move c4. I forget that on the end of the day, like if takes, bishop b4, bishop d2, queen to d4, that here after knight e2 we simply take, and after king takes we take on e4, and then game is collapsing for them. It's actually mate in either way. Here on f2, if they go here, then mate here. But the problem is he can't take back with a queen because rook hangs. So c4 also worked even earlier. Did you learn a lot with books? I studied with books years ago because we didn't have this chess-based material. You know, Chess.com was not popular at that time. But also didn't study too much. I was playing, like, I played French defense, for example, for many years. Like, even that was my first opening as black. Until sometime like 2018, 2019. Then I switched to Philidor, where I studied some theory, but when I remember from French defense, I'd never actually studied any theory. Maybe for a bit, like I had this geary chess course, but didn't take it too much seriously. So I played bishop b7, and then after this, again c4 works, then bishop b4, then queen d4, and then eventually our opponent collapses. What are your chess goals going forward? That's a good question. This year I want to play some quality chess when it comes to classical. I want to get back to 2300 if that's a possible goal rating point, like at least until the next year. I'm happy with 2300 just to get back and to settle down, you know. I don't want much more. Of course, when you settle your goals to be not so much high, expectations are not high, then if you eventually get even more above, then you get even more happy and satisfied. So you should never raise your expectations before the tournament. You just increase a lot of pressure on yourself. Think about results, which is not really the point. You are not focused on the game, you're focused on results, what people will say about you, how much rating you will get or not. People are missing that at the start. Like, they came to the game and they think, how would be beautiful to beat this international master. But they don't ask how I'm gonna do that. They ask, You know, they ask like for the future. That will look beautiful, of course, yes, but you need to do it. To do it, you need to focus, to not think about results. So yeah, my goals are just to try to play as best chess I can, to not pressure myself during the classical like I did in the past. I had so much pressure because I was 23-20. I reached my peak and I want more and more, and then I was thinking about this international norm, rating, crossing more barriers, but everything went down because not focused on the game, focused on results. So yeah, my opponent blundered here a lot. Take on c3, take on d5. Yeah, we just collects everything and eventually the game is over. So that was some easy game. I showed you some theoretical part of this Sicilian, bishop c4. It's always natural to play e6, d5 here. Depends what he does. And also there is this common tactic. Like if he goes for castles, always remember this fancy tactic with knight takes e4. It gives you a lot of clearings in the middle. Knight takes d5 now and you're happy with this. Okay, there is famous Magnus game here where white actually crushed positionally black here, but you see, according to engines, it's very playable. Like knight takes e6. Actually, I think in the one of Magnus games, he went firstly with this and then he played knight e5. But actually now knight is trapped. So no, that didn't happen. I think knight e5, queen d5, knight takes, b takes, and then bishop drop to e2, something like this. And then he tried to play these bad pawns, but black is pawn up. So position is equal, engine likes more black because of material, but there is no knights on the board, that's good to say. Black wants to go e5, f5, I guess. Put the bishops here, go castle and build up nice position. So I think that's promising. Okay, guys. Had to go now. And on Sunday, you will have the stream from 11 a.m. Turn on notification buttons to get informed. Also join the Discord server. You have the links on YouTube. You have links here also. I'm going to put down if you don't have, and more announcements there. Yeah, that's it. I have to go to rest some time here and to make more content later. Thanks for the stream and your teaching. No worries. You're welcome. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like button. And don't forget to sub up, follow up to make this community valuable. To gather more people. Thanks for the stream, GG's. Yeah, that was nice games. Yeah, let's take a look if this guy got banned. Yeah, we didn't forget him. We didn't forget him. Our champion with 99.2 accuracy. Our champion. And he's still not banned. He's still not banned. Okay, maybe on the next stream we'll see. We're gonna see in the next stream if he played so well. Like he played so well. And by the way, he played another game later, and he point 99.1. So he made another game with 99.1. So that's another incredible score for him. Famous Uzbek guy. He's actually called coach. This means coach on Serbian. Treneru. Coach on Serbian. Maybe he's some troller from Serbia, I don't know. Okay. Oh, you don't see it actually. Wait. For people who don't see it. So yeah, this guy, I lost to this guy just few like 30 minutes ago, let's say. He beat me with 99.2 accuracy in San Brasilimo, and then he played eventually another game and made 99.1. He scored another good win. Promising player, rising star. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.